Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Jim Vankoski. I'm the curator of the Sports Legends of Delaware County Museum, located here in Radnor Township in the municipal building at 301 Ivan Avenue. And we're here today with our special guest, Rich Pagano. Rich Pagano is a former teacher in the Upper Darby School District, taught for 36 years. And I myself was a teacher in the Wallingford Sophomore School District for 35 years. So Rich got me beat by a year, but we'll accept that. And we're here today to talk about a sports rarity. And hopefully we'll be back time and time again to discuss our sports rarity of the month, but none will be any better than this one. We have a 1936 baseball uniform from the Olympic Games that were held in Berlin. And Rich was able to interview the owner of this uniform, who was the winning pitcher of that game. And we're going to find out a lot of information about Carson Thompson that many of us have never even heard of, and we'll be anxious, Rich, to hear what you have to say about Carson.
Well, Carson Thompson, a Delaware County native, he attended Collingdale High School and was an outstanding all-around athlete, playing football, basketball, and baseball. He was a pitcher in baseball. But his senior year, that summer, he was signed a contract with the New York Yankees because they liked his pitching ability, obviously. And he did not attend the camp that he was supposed to go to. He signed a letter actually received a full scholarship to play football at Temple University. So the Yankees got very upset with him, and they decided to bar him from ever playing Major League Baseball again. So what he did was he went to Temple, attended Temple, played football for only a year, but he did play baseball there. And he was an outstanding pitcher. And when he graduated in 1932, he went back to his alma mater, Collingdale High School, and he taught and coached there for about 5 years. And it was really there where he began playing for the Penn Athletic Club. And he played basketball for Penn Athletic Club and baseball. And a lot of people don't realize that playing basketball, they were one of the clubs that was in the tournament to play basketball at the Olympic Games in Berlin. And they lost to a team and were not selected. Back then, teams got picked for the Olympics, not so much individuals like they do nowadays. So he had the chance to also play baseball, and he was on the team that was picked to go to Berlin. And he ended up going to Berlin for the 1936 games with this uniform, playing for the United States team.
This uniform is on loan to the Sports Legends of Delaware County Museum via the Collingdale Alumni Association. And we're so happy that they allowed us to put this on display, because it's perfect for our current exhibit, which is winter wool for the summer games. So you can see this is a wool uniform here.
Right.
And from 1936. And one thing that you mentioned when I was listening to you is our common theme of our museum is we're really big on making sure that we can justify athletes being from Delaware County. So from what you said, we have no problem saying that Carson Thompson is a Delaware County athlete.
No, he's definitely a Delaware County native, and actually attended a high school that no longer exists, Collingdale High School. They were consolidated back in the early 1980s to form what is now Academy Park High School. But what was really interesting, he came in to relieve, there were two teams. One was the U.S. Olympic team, which he played on, and there was a World Amateur team. So they were both American teams. But as you had mentioned earlier to me before the show, they were supposed to play a team from Japan, and that never came about. So you had the two American teams. And I should back up for a minute that if you hosted the Olympic Games, you were allowed to pick a sport that you could they called them demonstration sports or exhibition sports. So the German Olympic Committee picked baseball. So they decided to use that as their exhibition sport. And so Carson, here he finds himself coming in, I think in the 5th inning. The team he was playing for was winning 6-5, and he did an outstanding job pitching for the rest of the game, and his team ended up winning 6-5.
What makes this special, you and I talking about Carson Thompson, is that we both actually met Carson Thompson.
Yeah.
When I was playing for Chester High School in 1964, Carson Thompson was the coach of Upper Darby High School. And you had mentioned that you did an interview. Rich does a column every week for Town Talk magazine, and a number of years ago, he actually had a chance to interview Carson Thompson.
Yeah, I guess it was back in the late 1980s. I interviewed him at his home in Havertown, and he actually had the uniform and the ball that he used to pitch in that game. All that material went up to the Baseball Hall of Fame, and it was up there for a period of time. A picture of him, the uniform you see here, and the ball. And I'm not sure how long it was at Cooperstown at the Baseball Hall of Fame, but he showed me all that the day I was there, and it was such an interesting talk because there were 125,000 people in Berlin Stadium, he told me, watching this game.
Now, can that be documented? Excuse me to interrupt you, but can you document
Yes,
that?
it can be documented. It's in the Olympic report that 125,000 people, the largest crowd, even to this day, to ever watch a baseball game. And he talked about that and how, I don't know how they guesstimated this, but they guessed that at least 90,000 people in that stadium had never seen a baseball game before. And I found that really interesting. What happened after that, he kind of was picked as the captain of the team. So Eva Braun, who was Adolf Hitler's mistress, stopped by the Olympic Village because she was working kind of as a commentator for this sports film that they were making, and she didn't know hardly anything about baseball, so she needed to talk to somebody from the team, and Carson ended up spending over 3 hours talking to Eva Braun and explaining to her.
And this comes from Carson himself.
Yeah, he's telling, and he was kind of taken back by it because here I am with Eva Braun, who's Hitler's mistress, and she's asking me these questions about baseball because she doesn't know much about the sport. And he did say that she spoke fluent English, and he knew some German. So they did a really excellent job of communicating. And he found out years later, and had read about this. He may have told me that when I was at his home too, but books started to come out about Hitler, and they had mentioned that Hitler and Eva Braun and other higher-ups in the Nazi party had doubles that they used, especially for personal appearances. So he said, you know, I was never completely sure whether that was the real Eva Braun or her double. But yeah, that was another exciting event there that he took part in at the Olympic Games.
Well, Rich, for the sake of the audience, we're the two major docents at the Sports Legends of Delaware County Museum. And I try to tell people all the time that you don't even have to be a sports fan to like the stories that we have. And you're certainly illustrating that. Because the stories we have transcend sports.
Yeah. And I think that's a good example of a story that transcends sports.
Because when you think of the 36 Olympics, naturally you think of the Jesse Owens Olympics, where he was in competition with Hitler. Really, he won 4 gold medals during that Olympics. And also, we had another individual from Delaware County that was actually a medal winner during the Olympics.
Dan Barrow. He lived in Yeadon. He actually attended West Catholic because at that time there were no Catholic high schools in Delaware County. St. James, I believe, was the first in 1940 when they opened. So Dan was a rower and a world-class rower, won world championships, and he won in the single sculls. He won a bronze medal in Berlin. So, yeah, that was another Delaware County athlete at the Berlin Olympics at the same time with Carson. And we also have Fred Loring, and we have his uniform at our museum. Fred Loring was the chairman of the Olympic Swimming Committee. So he was in administration. He wasn't an athlete, but he was one of the top swimming officials in the world. So he took care of the entire swimming program, the United States swimming program at the Olympic Games. And he lived in Swarthmore for over 50 years. So actually we had 3 Delaware County individuals at the 36 Olympics.
And Ted Meredith.
Oh, that's right. And Ted Meredith, who attended Media High School for a period of time, who actually won gold medals in the 1912 Olympics. He was a coach, I believe, for the Swedish Olympic team, track team at those games. So, you know, I always forget about him, that we had 4 Delaware County Olympians.
And this is all in the 36 Olympics.
All in Berlin, yeah, in 36.
Which is something that we pride ourselves, because we do have Fred Loring's parade uniform
Yes.
on display.
We have his uniform with his sweater and his cap, and we have Carson's baseball uniform. Yeah,
We like to brag. We like to brag a little bit about our museum, and we like to say that many of the items that we have could be in any sports museum
in the world.
In the world.
Yeah.
And this is a good example. This is direct from the Baseball Hall of Fame Museum in Cooperstown, New York.
Yeah.
So it's something that says that we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, they're great pieces of memorabilia, without a doubt. Carson also mentioned to me that he spoke quite a few times with Jesse Owens, because Jesse Owens, of course, was the big star of those Olympics. Like you mentioned, he won 4 gold medals and upset Hitler a little bit. So they were pitching in that game, having the interview with Eva Braun, and talking with Jesse Owens were 3 of the big experiences that he had over there in Berlin.
And our audience might also, we get their attention by, there's a famous book out called Boys in the Boat. And Dan Barrow is actually mentioned
in there, yeah.
Because I think the book's on the 36 Olympics.
Right. And I always remember John B. Kelly Sr., who of course was a gold medal winner in the Olympics in rowing. He had a lot of nice things to say about Dan Barrow, because Barrow was in the 8 boat, where you have 8 rowers, and they won the world championship. And Kelly always said it was probably the best 8 that he had ever seen in the history of rowing. And Dan Barrow was a part of that.
Well, I'd like to tell the audience that if they would like to see this jersey close up and personal, they can come to our Sports Legend of Delaware County Museum, which is in the Radnor Township Municipal Building, and we're open township hours between 8 and 4 Monday through Friday, and 11 and 1:30 on a Saturday. And anybody that would like a group tour, they could just contact our phone number, 610-909-4919. We'll put that on the screen hopefully at some point, 610-909-4919. And we can set up a time when either Rich or myself can give everyone a guided tour, and I think it would be something that would be very beneficial. This jersey we have it's on loan again from the Collingdale Alumni Association, and we have this until the end of March. So you got till the end of March to come out and take a look at this.
And I think what's really amazing is how good a shape this jersey is in. It amazes me. Also amazes me how in real hot weather you played with a wool jersey, but that was what the jerseys were made of back then, wool, not cotton. And all the jerseys we have in this exhibit are of course, wool, how it got its name there for the exhibit.
Well, Rich, thank you very much. I appreciate you coming,
you.
and I expect we'll see you many more times.
I hope so.
And our game plan is that we plan on bringing one of our sports rarities each month, and to whet your appetite to come and see our museum. And we think it'll be a worthy event for you. And certainly there's no admission, so that's something that most people like. And signing off now, my name's Jim Vankoski, curator from the Sports Legends of Delaware County Museum, and hope to see you at our site.
Thank you.